Hi, my name is Jason Leahy, Executive Director of the Illinois Principals Association. Appreciate you joining me for another edition of IPA Talk, and we've got an important one today as we discuss a critical resource, a new resource that is rolling out here across the state of Illinois. And to walk us through this, I'm going to bring in my guest, Don Kauerauf. Don is currently the chair of the Illinois Terrorism Task Force, but got quite a background in related work with that. So first, Don, just want to say welcome and thanks for being with me here during this IPA Talk.
Jason, thank you very much. I couldn't agree more. I've been in state government for 30 years, actually retired at the end of 2018. And I've told multiple individuals that in my career in state government, there has never been a project I've been more anxious to implement than Safe2Help Illinois. Background on me, I've been in state government, was in state government for 37 years. It's hard to say that separation there. It's been a long time.
Good to see you still standing after all that time.
It's possible. It's possible. And this retirement thing's pretty good. A full-time job in retirement. But my role is chair of the state task force for Homeland Security, the Illinois Terrorism Task Force. But one of the other duties that was asked for me to lead with my state experience is the implementation of a statewide helpline called Safe2Help Illinois. And this is an effort that is very similar to what has occurred in other states. Most prominently is the state of Colorado. Some of you may have heard of the Safe2Tell program, and that was the first of the state helplines or hotlines, however you want to call them, that was originated after the tragic shootings at Columbine High School in 1999. So the state of Illinois, following the shootings at Parkland High School in Florida, pulled together a panel of experts to look at where we can be better in Illinois. And one of the 13 recommendations that came out of this group was the formation of a statewide helpline called Safe2Help Illinois.
So with the Terrorism Task Force, Don, I mean, who is a part of that group? Obviously, this has been a product of the the effort with that group. But what other kinds of things, just to give a little bit of context of what you're dealing with, with regards to safety and such, particularly where schools are concerned in this case, what types of things are you guys working and discussing as part of your conversations?
Yeah, great question. The Illinois Terrorism Task Force, this is the governor's task force to advise on Homeland Security issues. And this goes anything from response to natural disasters to prevention of events. Through our efforts, we have established through the Illinois State Police, the State Fusion Center. That is the center that helps prevent covert terrorism events within the state of Illinois. We have established and supported statewide response teams. Many of the districts here have probably been part of natural disasters such as floods, tornadoes, ice storms, and those coordinated teams that help respond to those events were established and funded and equipped through the Illinois Terrorism Task Force. So, our job is to provide, fittingly, statewide capabilities to support events in Illinois, because we know that there's not enough funding at the federal, state, and local level for every jurisdiction to have everything they need. So the Terrorism Task Force wanted early on what our role has been is try to maximize every dollar coming in the state and looking for statewide capabilities and resources that can help any stricken jurisdiction in the state of Illinois.
Well, and tying this back to what we're here to discuss with the Safe2Help resource, I think this is a good example of, when you pool those resources together, it provides the capacity, the expertise, the know-how to really produce something that I think, when we look at this, this resource, that it's going to be extremely helpful for schools. And, while you mentioned the tragedies in Columbine and Parkland and, what might have been the impetus for looking to develop resources like this, when we talk about, the tragic school shootings, what I'm excited about Safe2Help is that it's really a much more expansive support than just dealing with school shootings and trying to make sure that we're aware of maybe some of those potential instances before they would happen and try to prevent them. But here we now have a resource that can really help support mental health and wellness and suicide prevention. And I think things that are really top of mind as we're working through the pandemic right now. So what's pretty exciting about this, Don, is that you're well past the development phase. You're now in the beta phase of testing the site, and we are going to do a brief tour here in a bit. But can you tell us, what's happening right now with the Safe2Help site?
Yeah, and I want to go back and highlight a point you mentioned, Jason, is that when this project started out, it was strictly kids with guns. The thought of the experts was that we needed a process to ensure that school officials had some type of information if there was a tip called in. We know many districts in Illinois have exceptional, threat lines, helplines. This program isn't to replace anything. This program is to provide statewide capabilities. We know a lot of districts that are financially are in problems and they don't have the resources to support this. We know some districts have great systems, as I mentioned. Safe2Help is to complement, supplement any existing resource in the state of Illinois. But going back to the origination of this, we thought it was kids and guns, but as we started meeting with other states, we quickly learned that is probably the vast minority of reports that come in. As you mentioned, the mental health issues dominate what other states have seen over the years, the bullying, the cyberbullying, suicide threats, self-harm. You go down the line, those are the ones that are dominating the landscape in the states. I was on a national tip line call yesterday and hearing affirmation from those states that have had existing lines that those mental health issues are only increasing in those states based on so much of the remote learning where adults are not laying eyes actually on the student. And that is, at least what's being reported in, are those from students or friends of students that are reporting in, tendencies, behaviors that are uncharacteristic for some of for themselves and for some of their fellow students. But, yeah, Jason, go back to your point. Yes, we have moved past the initial kind of what this is. And we're actually in something called a beta test right now. And what I define beta test is that we selected 2 school districts that came forward wanting to be part of this program. And we're really walking through this, step by step, each of the different phases of the program. We are starting to implement, one by one. We're getting constant feedback from the schools, because once we get into the next phase, which is piloting, which we would like to do beginning in March, if possible. That's going to be more of, we're going to be in full production mode at that time. And we are interested in school districts that would like to be part of the pilot. And that's something that obviously you can get a hold of myself or go through Jason to forward that information on to me once we get there. But we have 2 school districts that are in the beta test. It's going to be a 12-week program. We started the week of Thanksgiving, and we will conclude that first week of February. And this is an exciting time. We are, we're going. This is no longer, for those of us that have been working on the implementation of this program, it seems like it's been a long time. In reality, in state government, this really was a pretty quick program from stand up to getting in production mode. But yeah, this is exciting. We are moving forward in that phase. So.
Well, I think it's important to note, Don, is, with this beta test, obviously you have these 2 districts that did volunteer. They might have been encouraged or tapped on the shoulder, but they did volunteer. The pilot phase will obviously be volunteer, but this is something that schools will need to volunteer to be a part of, right? I think it's always important we talk about where, and schools are always a little wary of this when they see a new program coming, is like, well, we're going to be just expected to do it. Yeah. Well, no, it's not going to be mandated, but, my hope is, from what I've seen from the site and understanding what I think, the tool that you've produced here in terms of just overall resources, that we'll see districts want to engage and be a part of this, because it can be a powerful resource, especially for districts that don't have the capacity locally to do something similar, to really help their kids, right? And beyond just active shooter types of situations, but mental health, suicide prevention and such. I think it's really critical to note that.
Yeah, it's nice. We had one of our staff members did a Google search for the name of our Safe2Help Illinois and came back and found that a number of school districts in Illinois have already linked their websites to this program. And one of the things I do want to mention with this beta test and why this is so important that we're having this conversation now, Jason, is that once we activate our call center, which is part of the program, and when I go through the website, I'll kind of explain a little bit about that. It's statewide turn on. So if any student goes to our website, they see the ability to make a report of some event. We're not filtering that at all. We have 2 schools for the beta test that we were doing quite a bit of outreach. But if a student in a neighboring district or another place in the state stumbles behind our website and makes a report, we're going to follow that through. So, in some ways it's a beta test, a very small scale, but we are in a position where we can definitely go. I mean, any school in Illinois, may be impacted by a report by a student.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the site, Don, if you wouldn't mind. I've given you the keys here to be able to share your screen and show us that. All
right. So first of all, I want to point out that anyone can go to our website now. It's www.safe2helpil.com. This is live right now. You can go to the site. As I indicated earlier, is that a number of school districts have already linked their homepages to the site. Notice that we have a .com address. When working with other states, we were quickly told anything that has a .gov email or address on that will be quickly turned off by students. So we were able to set up a .com address to this. So we're hoping that would help ease some of the burdens. The website is, it's a resource, and we differ from some of the other states. A lot of the other states that have set up these tip lines, it's all about the call, 100%. It's all about getting the call and passing it on. We in Illinois, we want to do something just a little bit different, a little twist on that. We really want to focus on the resources that are being provided. And for that reason, we rolled out the website much earlier than the starting of the program, because we know that there's a number of great resources available. And Jason, what I'll do is I'll just kind of walk through some of the features of the website, and we encourage you to keep on going back to the site because it's going to be constantly going to be changing.
And can I just mention, Don, it'll be difficult for you to show this in this video, but I've had the opportunity to see it and explore it a little bit by myself. And what I appreciate about what you've done here, I mean, the attention to detail, the design is beautiful, for lack of a better term. It really is great. It takes into account all of the current best practices around web design. It's mobile friendly. It's responsive to the device you're on. All of that, and I even like how you have the quick exit button. That if kids are on here and maybe they're concerned about a parent or a friend or whoever looking over their shoulder, they have the opportunity to hit that. So it's well thought through from that perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. And I do want to point out that a major software company in Springfield actually stepped forward. So some of these features that you mentioned as best practices, it wasn't my bright idea. We looked at this company is an international software company. All of them have kids in school. The partners and the people have kids in Central Illinois schools. And they came forward and saying this is a need. So yeah, they did this pro bono for us, and we were just so thankful because they brought nuances that we in government we don't think of those things, but those are the pros, they do, and actually pointing out that quick button. Hopefully that as we go along here, districts will start loading this onto your Chromebooks and your other features. But this is a website. If you click on the quick exit, it actually takes you to a Google search engine. One of the things we have heard is that, if kids are looking over the shoulder of another student, they don't want to say, is this kid a snitch? So, you click on that click exit and you go. Jason, you mentioned a great point about the mobile. One of the things we learned when dealing with this company is that you don't develop a website based on desktop. No one uses desktop anymore. It's all about mobile. So they did something that's kind of interesting, is that when they started developing the site, everything started from the mobile platform, and then they bridged it out to what it would look like, as opposed to what a lot of people do is they develop the website, and if you squish it up or on your mobile device, it lets everything's kind of off center and kind of squished together. This is made for the mobile device and actually looks better on the mobile device if you want to do that. But look at our page. We got a scroll bar at the top. The website, we're really featuring on two different types of responses by students. Those students that need help for themselves. So if you click on self-help, we looked at really 5 initially. We have about 20 different ones we're going to start adding in the coming weeks and months. But the most prevalent when we talk to other states are instances of abuse, bullying, depression, suicidal thoughts, and self-injury. Those are the ones we develop first, those pages. Click on one such as suicidal thoughts. It takes you to a platform that provides you with various quick information. All the information we received for this website was agreed to Boys Town out of Nebraska, which is a nationally recognized mental health for youth group, liked what we were doing, so they allowed us to have all their materials free. You look at the suicide thoughts, there's tips for creating a plan, a safety plan, being resilient. Everything's just kind of touch, quick link and go, and it'll add, those buttons will pop up. And sorry, our internet here in Chatham's a little bit slow. So, but you get up to these quick tips here, different tools you can use, sending letters. I mean, there's a lot of different features in this website. Let me go ahead and go on back to the main page. So the second column we have is about encouraging others. Again, so much of what we have done is learned from other states. And one of the states or a few of the states had told us is that, so many of these sites just talk about the students themselves, that we don't do enough to try to encourage other students to be able to lend a helping hand. So we looked at kind of the 5 most critical support functions that other students can provide their students. Is helping a friend, helping someone online, so different ways. So each of these pages is set up to provide guidance. And as I showed in the previous page, they're written very short. You don't have to scroll through 20 different scroll throughs to try to get to the material. It's short, to the point. And Jason, one of the things that we have done is another lesson learned is that we developed this site for the student. This is a student site for the students. Now, if adults can learn something from out of this, that's great. Teachers, administration, that's great. But again, lesson learned from other states is because I asked them, I said, if you could do one thing over again, what would you do? They said we have a better website and we make it so that it's for the students. Too many states are developing adult type material, and then hopefully that students can get to it. This is all about students, as you can see as I scroll through here. We are trying to do a positive here. We're trying to get their attention. We're going to constantly be providing updates on stats, quick buttons to get to some of the things I showed you earlier. But this is a feature that I'm really happy about, and one of the things we'd like to help the districts to do. We don't want this site to be all about the negative impact. One of our core values of our program is to seek help before harm, but most importantly is to find trusted people you can talk to. And we want to start setting a culture in Illinois, at least from our standpoint, is that students, teachers, they're not adversaries. They can be your friend. They can be your support. So one of the things we're going to do on our website, very, very much as prominent, which is at the top of the page, is try to highlight some examples of where there have been positive teacher-student interactions so that kids can see this. And, the one with the Decatur School, public schools was one that really got to me. It was Why I Chose You, and they talked to educators, teachers, and Decatur Public Schools why they selected a student that encouraged them or gave them encouragement for being teachers. And it's quick videos in there that talk about it. It shows a real positive relationship between the teacher and the students. And we have some from Schaumburg and other districts across the state. On our website, we have a mobile platform. Starting next week, we're going to have a Twitter, Facebook. We're going to start. We have a whole social media plan. Hopefully, school districts can like our Safe2Help IL on Twitter and be part of the links and start sharing those links. This is just not for high school students; it's for younger kids too. So we developed a kid page, and In here, we address topics of staying healthy. We look at a term called tattling versus telling. So the whole program, the way have this set up, and this is working through the Illinois State Board of Education, is trying to take students from the very early stages to how to be safe on the internet, tattling versus telling, some of the basic principles. And as they work up through the grade levels, we're going to have different curriculums, training available through Illinois State Board of Education, all the way up to high school. And it's more of the hands-on type, preventative type. But we're looking at this over the long haul. That kindergartens will be first graders, first grade will be second, all the way up to high school that we want to start providing tips. But PBS has a number of great series where they've worked through Sesame Street, and others provide great, real short videos for students. But we've captured those and added those to the website. The last thing I'll show you on this page is we have a teen page set up with videos. University of Illinois Springfield has already published some videos that we're going to be adding in the next couple of days to our pages. But all these things are resources that schools can use, you can share, you can link to. But it's trying to create a culture of positive within the school that I know the schools are doing a tremendous job. I did mention as part of my bio that I am a son of educators. My dad was a superintendent in the Ball Chatham School District for quite some time, and my mom was a second grade teacher at Riverton grade school. So I understand and appreciate the value of what educators are doing. So, keeping this in mind, I think some of these resources can be quite valuable.
Absolutely. So when looking at the site, Don, if kids are looking for a way to report out issues that they're dealing with for themselves or their friends, where would they go here on the page to figure out how to do that? Where would they go?
On beginning next week on the 17th, December 17th at high noon, we will make a quick change to this page, and there will be a button at the top here which will say make a report. If you click on that button, it will provide a web form where students can provide information, select the school, select what the incident is, and be able to report that. I can't show you that today.
Sure.
But on the 17th is the date that it's going to go live. And that's why it's important that we're talking today, is so that educators are aware that coming up, it's going to be out there. And so the avenue for receiving reports from any school district in Illinois, it's a possibility.
Absolutely. Well, and I appreciate the opportunity and appreciate you sharing it here. So, let's flesh that out a little bit more, Don. And before we move away from the site, anything else here that we need to be sure to touch on for the educators as they navigate through this really critical resource?
Well, Jason, I do want to show how to start registering the teams. I don't know if you want to get to that now or you want to.
Well, I think that segues pretty well into kind of where we are currently, and I know we'll have schools and school leaders, I'm sure, pretty interested in how they can get engaged and become a part of this now sooner than later.
Jason, there's three things I think schools can do now, and which I would encourage them to do. The first of all is to link to our website. There are a number of resources on here. These are proven sites that have been foundational for many mental health groups. So we are very excited so that link to those sites, get access to those resources. The second thing we would ask educators to do at this time is to start thinking about the partners in their community. We talked a little bit before this, Jason, is that we don't think that Safe2Help will be a success if it's purely a program based exclusively within the school. We use in emergency management a term called whole community, and we believe that getting the whole community involved in the prevention is key, is working through the boys clubs, working through the after schools with the park district so that they can be familiar with the resources available through here. So yeah, we would look for the districts to start thinking about who are those partners within the districts where students go that could also be part of this plan once we roll out statewide. But the third thing I think is the most important thing, and it's what can be done right now. As I said before, next week we're going to go live with the call center. There will be a button on the screen that will be able to, that students can select to be able to get to their, to make a report. But the very bottom of this page is something we need all school districts to begin doing, is that we are focusing on 2 beta school districts, but any kid in Illinois that hears about this, makes a report, could make a report. We know for those 2 districts, we're going to have contact information for those districts so that we can immediately get in contact with them if there's a report from their district. However, if it's from a neighboring district or someplace else in the state, we don't have that information. So we have created a geo form at the bottom of the page. So if you come to the bottom of the Safe2Help website, go to the bottom and select geo form. We have created a form that can be used to register schools. And I hate to use the word register. Before this, Jason, I kind of kicked around, what do we call this? But we want to have contact information for every school district in Illinois. And if you go to the bottom of the page, the geo form, we have an overview of the program, frequently asked questions, but we want schools to start going in there and registering their schools. We give schools a lot of latitude for how they would like to register. It could be by school district. You have one school name, one district name. Or if it's a larger school district, I'm just doing an example since I'm from Sangamon County, the Springfield School District. They may want to list each high school, each junior high, each middle school as a separate entry, and that's fine. They're having teams for those. It's whatever is most convenient for the districts. But real quickly, it's going through here, school name, type of school. This is for any type of district. This just isn't for public school. It's for private schools. It's for career centers, charter schools. All of them can be part of this program. Provide a district name, address, city, zip code, who's completing the form. But the last thing I'll show you is that we want for school districts to provide end users. And these are people that if we would happen to get a report that we can quickly get in contact with the school district or the school building to let them know of what we're hearing. I should have mentioned this from the beginning. Our job at Safe2Help in Illinois is not to solve the problem. Our job is to provide a conduit so we get students, those of concern, in the hands of the professionals, those are the ones that need to know. We quickly get people over to the CARES line, to other types of state resources, Children and Family Services, who will be a required reporter. So our job is not to try to fix problems. Our job is to try to get in the hands of the experts, the schools that need to know about this information as quickly as possible. And for that reason, we want to get as many school districts as possible to get into the site, start registering their individuals that will be contacts for the program.
So once somebody has registered, will there be a follow-up then from someone at Safe2Help then, Don, just to have a connection to, well, I guess part of it is I just make sure that was a legitimate entry, correct, or registration, I suppose.
Yeah, we have a team that will go through there. Once it's entered, we will go through there and do a quick review. And there will be correspondence back with the school. Just let them know that we've received the information. At that standpoint, though, it's just the system will generate on a semi-annual basis an email out to the district saying, "Hey, here's your contact information." There's been updates, people have changed. But other than that, those schools just kind of just sit back now and just hopefully register your information and then take full advantage of the resources available through the website.
Excellent, very good. So let's just kind of quickly go through the timeline again here, Don, as far as where you're looking at the beta is now in play, looking at wrapping that up here early in 2021. If I recall, you were saying maybe February, March or so, looking to wrap that up and then start the next phase of the testing from there, correct?
Yeah, so again, we started the beta in Thanksgiving weekend. It's a 12-week program. Through those 12 weeks, we're going to be able to test every aspect of our program, get feedback, make changes. We're hoping in late February, early March to start looking at a pilot. With that being said, if there's any districts that are listening to this video, can contact me. Let me know you'd like to be part of this program. It's free. It's not a requirement. And then the pilot will probably try to run for probably another 12 weeks. Originally our goal was we wanted to this academic year to go into full release, but obviously with what's going on with COVID and every other thing, that's probably not practical. Then we get towards the summer, then people forget. So most likely we will do a full launch of the program the first of the next academic year. I think that's probably more of a reality, but Once the site's a beta site or a pilot, we go forward and still we got a website functional. Please take advantage of it, schools. You don't have to be part of the beta or pilot. Just take advantage of these resources, because it's available today.
Well, it's important that they realize that, because they might get a call anyway, right? With this information out there. And I can't think of anybody that wouldn't want to be aware, especially if a kid in their district is in need of help.
Yeah. And Jason, if I could leave one story there. I was at the National Tip Line Conference last year, and one of the states came forward who was new to the program. And they said that the first day, the first call into their call center was a call about a student from a fellow student that they had a gun. And they said that the student was going to shoot up the school. The tip line called the local law enforcement or school. They went to the student's house and they found assorted loaded guns, and various drawings of the building, floor plans that certainly were posted to be more informative of where all the areas of the school were. The student was arrested, but can I tell you that student was actually going to carry it out? I don't know. But one thing we know for sure, he didn't, because someone made a tip into a tip line. So, from my aspect, Jason, I'm an older guy now, I'm in my 50s, but, I'm a little impatient, but I don't think as a state we can wait on something this important. This is something we have to be available today, because we don't know, tomorrow could be that call. And I don't want to say, well, we're not quite there yet. Not all the bugs, everything's kind of worked. No. If we have that ability to save a life of other students, we got to move forward. So that's why we're working really quickly here to roll us forward. We hope schools take advantage.
Well, and then during this time, I can't think of a more pressing type of resource that is really needed right now as we think about serving our kids across the board, not just worry about, violence, but caring for their mental well-being, and making sure that they're not harming themselves or they know of a friend that might be interested in that. So this is really important. So Don Kauerauf, appreciate you spending some time with me and sharing this really important, timely resource, Safe2Help Illinois. Again, the website there, Safe2help.com. And we'll make sure to have all the information in the show notes for Don's contact information and where people can go if they're wanting to find out some more information. But be sure to check it out and be aware that it is out there, it's live, and will be available for young people to access all the time. So again, my name is Jason Leahy, Executive Director of the Illinois Principals Association. Thanks for joining me for this IPA talk. As always, if there's anything that IPA can do for you, don't hesitate to give us a call or check us out on the web at www.ilprincipals.org. Take care.